Hello everyone, this is part 2 of the watch list for July 9th. I believe I stopped at PGM. So if you look at the PGM's chart, it looks very nice. It's safely above or somewhat safely above 180, 170, which is well below the level. I would be concerned, very deeply concerned about this stock. If you want to give a lot more room for your alerts and maybe getting out, that's the level I would be watching. To the short-term watch, I would be short-term alert. I would place an alert for 208 to the downside, but anything below $2 would be a reason for concern. PLZ or PLZ having some issues with 360 has to close above that level to make sure that this is a good one to hold. Otherwise, I would say 330 will be an alert level to the downside. PVG has been flirting with $12 in the past. This is a key level, as you can see it on the chart. It has to close above that to make it a real nice bull case. Really far below that current close for the alert, and this is the absolute last level to get out, which is 11. But anything below 1150, 1140 would be a major or could be a consideration for getting out. A stock ticker is real, which is has a nice clearly defined range or levels between 27 and 28. So these are the two levels I would be watching for. Russell Metals above 17. Anything below that level would be a reason for get out, at least the short term, or maybe considering getting out for the short term. But I think 1850 is the level I will be watching to the upside. But I think it's a small volume player. So this definitely, 1740, 1730 is where some activities are actually taking place. So that's a good one to watch. SIL key level 1250 to the downside, and anything below $12, that's a reason to get out. To the upside, it needs to close above 13 to make it a full-blown bull case. SKE, very nice, similar pattern as if you recall it from PGM, which had 180 to the downside. $2 was a little bit of a stop for this one, and I think if it happens to go below 240, probably I would be considering scaling back on this one. SSL, yep. $12.98, $13 is probably a level I would be watching for very closely. And I know this is a very tight range for comparing to the current close, but this gets a bit toppy, so it needs more confirmation in terms of higher closing prices to make sure that this stock will continue to go higher. SSRM tried to close above 31, it didn't. So it's a bit of a reason for some sort of a watchful eye. So if it happens to close below 30, and if you want to give a little more room for the alert, then 29.50. So 29.50 and 30 are the two levels I would be watching to the downside. STC 260, so anything below 260 would be some sort of reason to concern, and 280 would be to the upside, where some topping actually are taking place. As you can see, it actually closed at 280 and opened at 280, but it really couldn't hold that level. So if it goes above 280, it's a good one. STGO, I never really heard of that one. Anything below $2, as you can see, a couple of days, this was actually working very hard at 280. That would be a very long range alert level for you to get out if you happen to be in it. Anything above 219, 220 would be a very close to the current level, I know, but that would be something I would be watching for. STN, the next one. It closed pretty much at the previous high, so not the most convincing one, but definitely you need to keep an eye on this one because this may continue to go higher. To the downside, yeah, As you can see, 42 has been a key level for this stock. Got some support at that level, so watch for 42. Another good one is SVM. It's okay number of shares exchanged hands, and as long as it stays above 740, this should be a good one. TCLA, yeah, if it happens to break above 1520, then more upside is expected. And anything, I would say 1480 is the reason might be for you to consider having an alert for, and potentially maybe to get out if it happens to close below that. Tech Resources is not moving much higher if you compare to the FM's chart. It has some serious some sort of serious issues with 1450. So let's see if this can actually close above that level. So I would watch for 1460 for tech, and that would make it maybe a continuation of the uptrend, which actually started a few days ago when it moved from 1350 to 1451. TFII, and that is, I don't know what the company is, but what I can see is that I'm loving the way the chart looks like. Watch for 50 to the downside, and upside, maybe the stars, I don't know. TGZ is above 13, which was a very, very important level to cross and close above. It's now closed at 1360 with higher number of shares exchanged hands than the average one, so that's a good sign. Watch for 13 potentially to the downside. That's the only thing. These are the only things I can say about that. TUD. In case of TUD, I would watch for 253 to the downside. Below that, probably you should be considering getting out. If you're patient enough, which you have to be with a $2 stock, 240 should be your last place to considering getting out. TXG, another gold company of these days, having an interesting, almost like a perfect doji star. So watch for 22, and right now it's the bid and ask is 22 to 22.52. So maybe it's going to open between those two numbers. So, but definitely my recommendation to watch for 22. If it happens to go below, let's see, what level is that? 2160, then time to get out. Another Uranium player other than CCO is U. Watch for 490. Anything below 490, it might be a reason for more reason to get out than get in. VFF is moving up higher. There was a bit of an activity around 725, which is roughly around here. So, and as you can see, it couldn't really move higher, even though it touched 780 yesterday. Volume picked up, and that's why maybe there were a lot more activities for this particular stock. VMD is on the upswing from after this nice chart formation, so very nicely, very beautifully above it, above $14, which was a key level, I might add. So this is a positive sign. Watch for $15, or more precisely $14.70. If it happens to close above that, that would be a really good sign for this. I don't know about VZLA. It's went up 96%. I can't really talk about it other than this is more like a gambling for me, but I have to mention it. Maybe the momentum continues on, but be very, very watchful how this one works later on. WDO, it's good, very nicely moved up from a key level, which was 1150, and now it's 1354, well above any previous highs. So it's a good momentum. Huge moves in the past few days, I would say, and especially yesterday with the 10%, over 10% move. Looks good. Watch for 13, and that's the key level I would be keeping an eye on if I were you. Well has been moving up very nicely. $3 is probably the key level for this one to close above. If it happens to make it above $3, that's a good sign. Anything under 270, well, maybe reason for getting out. WFT is very nice in terms of the way the chart looks. About $50, very, very good. I would keep an eye on 49.30, 49.40 for to the downside. WPM, another silver player, close to a previous highs, which still a few dollars away, but getting closer and closer. The chart looks very, very nice, and $10 in a few days, so very, very nice. I would watch for 61.20, 61.40 to the downside, and definitely this level, which is 65.35, or just make it 65 to be more precise. WPRT moved up very nicely, not a huge volume, and especially considering that it's a $2 stock, it's more like a gamble the way it looks, but it has some potential as long as it stays above $2. But if it happens to close below 185, then more reason to get out. As long as gold is going higher, XGD should be working very well for you. So it's a nice ETF to having exposure to golf. XIC, another play for the TSX. If it happens to close below around this level, okay, let's give a little more, around 24.70, then you may consider getting out because it gets a little toppy. If it happens to close below 24.50, then it's even more reason for you to get out or considering getting out. XIU, very good play. Watch for 23.40, which is about 30 cents from yesterday's close. So that's the level I would be watching for. And it seems like XIU is having some issues with 24. So to the upside, watch for 24. Another ETF at the end for the S&P 500, 34. Yeah, watch for 34. But definitely if it happens to fall below 33.70, that might be a reason for getting out of the stock. Otherwise, it's not bad. And finally, another gold play, which is Yamana Gold. There were some activities around 7:30ish. So if it happens to close below at this level, which is 7:30, that would be time for considering getting out. Otherwise, this is a good one to hold, even though it wasn't really impressive yesterday, but who knows. But that may has to do something with the 770 potential ceiling for YRI. So keep an eye on these stocks, as I mentioned. As I said before, watch lists are just purely keep an eye on a few stocks and ETFs on your radar for a particular trading day, and this is what I have for you as a recommendation. Enjoy it. Have a wonderful trading day. Bye now.